We are enough right now, and everything else is extra. You've been amazing when you're not speaking. The stuff we feel, even when you think you're not feeling, it's your amazingness, it's your awesomeness, and it causes ripples throughout this world. So I just want to say, just rest when you need, but please do not give up. You are amazing.
Well, hi there. This is Vicki, and this is Intuition, Your Success Compass. This podcast is where I cut through the noise. I help you unlock your power of insight so you can give yourself permission to live the life that you always thought was possible, but you're not quite seeing just yet. So join me as we delve into practical insights, intuitive knowledge, humor, life experience, and other professionals that can help to guide you and using your own success compass, where success is defined by what you want it to be and how you want to live your life. I'm your guide in all of this, and I welcome you. I thank you for being here so that you can create the life you absolutely want to live and then create that ripple effect in the world. So Tariq Pinkston finally got you to intuitive in what's the name of my podcast? Intuition, Your Success Compass. Thank you for making the time and for putting up with my rescheduling and for bringing your beautiful energy here. Before I launch into how I know you, I would like for you to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself as yourself, like who you are as a person. And then
Yes.
you can tell us about being the body activist coach and all of that. So head on in. You got the mic.
Awesome. My name is Tariq Pinkston. I'm a husband, proud father. And when it comes to me, as opposed to saying this, maybe this will get you. So have a love for humanity. I always have. And when I'm working with people, when I'm meeting people, my goal is never to change them, but to set up an environment for them to feel safe while they thrive. And when I meet people, I'm literally looking at them like, hello, human, because I realize there's more than one way to the goal. There's more than one way to go. And we're all trying to go home at the end of the day. And so I think that kind of sums it up, the type of person I am in a way.
Yeah.
What did you think?
So full transparency, I have known Tariq quite a long time. And that is exactly how I experience you. It's like whomever is in front of you is in front of you. Like they
Yeah.
have your full attention, your presence, your humor, your inspiration, and curiosity. I think that's the thing that has drawn me to you for so long. Well, first of all, folks, he asks really good questions that make me pause and think about stuff. And I appreciate that. I also see you as someone who really cares about your community. And that could be the community you're working in, whomever's hired you and their community, the global community, and then the
Yeah.
universal community. So I would add that to the description, if we are, about Tyreek as a soul, but also as a human, and the pleasure it's been to know you. So,
Same. Same.
so let me ask you then, as a dad, as a husband, as a man in this world, how are you showing up in such a present way when that is not exactly encouraged in our world?
Yeah. You have a great point. So how am I showing up? Well, I'll be honest with you. And I think you know this. I was a shy and introverted guy to the age of 25. People around me were the only people that I really chatted with because they were the people in front of me.
Right.
And some of those friendships and, they weren't, they served its purpose, I will say.
Mhm.
And now that I'm much older and I'm out of my shell and I've done the work internally, it's like when I'm meeting people, it's like, because I learned to give myself grace to be human. So I give other people grace to be human. And I'm literally interested because I view people as like a masterpiece. Like there's a painting, a masterpiece. And I could see the highlighted reds and the blues. I could see, the greens and all of that. And for me, it's like when I'm talking to somebody, I'm literally in my head going, okay, so I really want to ask about this. I really want to ask about that. Do they know how absolutely wonderful they are? And so it's just, it causes a ripple effect. And I just
Yeah.
really have a lot of fun doing that. It's fun.
Yeah. It is a lot of fun, isn't it? Like, I
Yes.
feel like I don't know how much more often I can say it, that we get to be human, and it's such a beautiful thing, and there's so much humor in it. And yes, there's sadness, and yes, there's experiences, but there's a joy in figuring out those experiences and doing, like you said, the work. So what's some of the work that you've done to
Oh,
bring you from this place of introversion and shyness, and you can fill in the other words. I don't want to fill them in for you. Like, what's some of the work that you've done?
well, the work that I did is I say around 23 years old, I told myself I didn't want anyone else to feel how I felt. So I pulled away from the world. And as I pulled away from the world, of course, I prayed. Meditation was relatively new. I learned that from you, actually. I worked out and I read a whole lot of self help books. And I just felt like if I was going to be of any use to anyone else, it would be very important that I heal some of these wounds I've acquired. If I was going to be that motivational speaker that I really wanted to be, I had to really work on confidence, being okay with sharing my heart. And, I'm realizing that there's different levels to that. And I think at this point in my life, I may have surpassed where I was at that moment in time with permission, giving myself permission to just go there and knowing that those tears that show up are okay. The world's not going to stop. In fact,
Mhm.
I noticed a lot of people like authenticity. They really connect with it more so than me
Mhm.
suppressing it and trying to keep a grip on it. I'm about to explode. My head's all red and
You're
I'm
right.
about to head's about to pop. you know? and
Yours are
so but
hot, heart is racing.
yeah, yeah. And one thing that really helped is, and I was just say this, like meeting you at 21 years old and me having these these gifts, and we all have gifts. You've always said that we all have them. But me having different amplified levels, and you let me know what my gifts were because I didn't have the community that I could go and talk to about it. I could talk to my mother about it, and even though she was confused, she heard me out. And
Mhm.
she would always listen. And upon you becoming a mentor and becoming like a second mom, a lifelong friend, I really was put on this, like I didn't know where I was. I don't think I was off the path. I just met you where I needed to meet you. And you really helped me quite a bit. But a year ago is when things really shifted. As a guy who came into this world with a whole lot of empathy, I didn't know the word, but I knew the feeling of wanting everyone else to be okay. I learned that it's important to have empathy for me as well.
Mhm.
And that just clicked one day. I don't know how it lined up, but it clicked one day. And did I tick some people off? Yes. But one thing's for sure is when you practice saying no, when you finally say yes, then they know you're going to show up. They know
Mhm.
you're going to show up.
Mhm.
And I found just from honoring me before I make a decision that it enhances the experience tenfold. Just listen, just acknowledge, myself. And that's what I learned. And so I've been sharing that with people. You are just as important as everyone else. The friends, the
Mhm.
family, as well as the job.
Yeah.
That was a long answer, huh?
And no, it's a great answer. So is that the activation of self? Like, you were there, you had you had the knowing, you had the feedback, you read the books, but
Yeah.
actually doing the work, which we don't wanna minimize because self-help,
Yeah.
self-awareness, that it I always say to people, if you're doing it right, it feels like, "Oh, hell no." Like, "Come on." Like, "Again?" And
Yeah.
then, And then there's that activation that's going on that
Yeah.
allows you, and you used the word earlier, permission. A lot of the times, I think, especially men or male presenting, almost need to be given permission, even though it's not our right to give someone's permission.
Yeah.
But having worked with a bunch of men, I often have to say, can I see those tears? Like, can you let them flow? Can you get giddy? Like, can
Yeah.
you be goofy? Like, I
Yeah.
like a goof. I like somebody who's silly. Like, if not, bugger off. Like, so how did you begin to do that? You're going through this activation. And I want to let people know that you're doing motivational speaking at this time. Like you are speaking, you've been doing it for over a decade and speaking to youth. Did you not realize that?
Thank you, Vicki, for saying that. Uh,
You haven't.
it just hit me.
Like the proof is there.
Wow.
Like we can look up the dates that you, yes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we're not going to pass by this if this is a moment where you're recognizing that you have been in the action of it.
I really have. It's been quite a journey. Wow. Okay. Yeah. 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 That makes me happy. Wow.
So, so you've been doing it, you've been showing up, and we have evidence of you just now recognizing that. I mean, your head knew it, but maybe your heart didn't know it. And that's part of the activation that I'm talking about. Like there's a coming on board, if you will, like
Yeah.
stepping forward. And this is what I feel like you bring other people, but I also want to spread the message of like when we activate within ourselves, we bring that joy to the world because
Yeah.
you feel lined up and you want to share. So, what is a body activist coach then?
So what is it? Body activist coach?
Yeah.
All
Like
right. So to
this is
me,
who you
it's
are and you've been walking around in it. Um, I would like for you to step a little bit more into it by telling
yeah.
us what it is.
So for me, it's about the whole human, the soul, mind, and body. And sharing some of the things, of course, that I've learned, but I'll just say this. When we were created, every ingredient that went into creating each one of us on this planet Earth was very intentional. There was no accident where it accidentally dropped some extra sugar in there and, sorry. There was none of that. It was very, very intentional. And I know the feeling personally of not feeling worthy, not feeling like I fit in, not even really thinking that my life was long. I didn't think my life was going to be too long here. But this business that I've created is not only a business for me, it's like almost like a lifestyle. It's almost like I've been doing this. It, it just didn't have a label to call it. Didn't have the LLC.
Right.
This.
Right.
Because, I've stood on stage and advocated. I've been on the radio and wanted to uplift the community. I had my little local TV show for a while, and I wanted to uplift in every area. It was always about humanity, and it was never about just fitness. It was never about not just the mind. It wasn't just about the soul. It was always about the complete package. And it's funny because while I was inspiring others, it helped me step into more of what it is I was meant to do as well.
Of
It
course.
feels good. It feels so good to be able to do that. And it's so the body activist coach, I think I basically summed it up. I'm about humanity, the soul, mind, and body, and the amazing things that can come from just
Mhm.
embracing you and not being ashamed of you. Now, I don't want to change you. I don't want to change you. I think I might have said that before we recorded, but I
Mhm.
don't want to change you. My goal is for you to feel safe and supported. So, and I found that when people feel safe and supported, they're more likely to thrive in that environment.
Yeah.
And so I'm just honored. I'm honored. I'm here to serve.
And that is evident in the interaction because when you're working with the youth, you're working with the elderly. You also work with the elderly. So you run the gamut. Like you work with humans.
Yeah.
And in that, like, what is one of the things that every human desires most? And that's to be seen.
Oh, yeah. The first time, I felt seen, my mother seen me, but she didn't have an idea. I think it was an interaction with you and I sitting down. And I think you might have literally said that I see you.
Mm. It sounds
And
like
I
me.
really, really do like I talk about you all the time, people. You're amazing. But I really truly believe that's where I think the first time I've heard something like that, like I see you, and it felt warm within my heart area. It felt like, wow, someone sees me. And so why not share that? Like my buddy
Mhm.
John says, pay it forward.
Mhm.
Pay it forward, right?
Mhm.
And so yeah, that's what I'm doing. I if I'm learning something, if I have the power to teach, I want to pass that along. We all have that. We all have these things, you know?
Right. Right. We all have, and I love that we all have a unique perspective because I haven't lived your experiences, you haven't lived mine.
Yeah.
But when we honor and respect that that's true,
Mm.
the conversations you can have with someone are no longer competitive or
Yeah.
like vying for space. It's more like, well, what are you bringing? And,
Yeah.
oh, well, here's what I know. And then what can we create together?
Mhm.
So, how much does your intuition come into play? Like when you're working with people and you're assessing what it is that they need, but they may not even know what they need. And this is
Yeah.
soul, emotional, physical. Maybe
Yeah.
they are coming to you for as a personal trainer, and they don't know all they're going to get.
Yeah.
So, how do you use your intuition without stepping on any toes?
That's important. I've learned how to kind of feather it in. I don't always know what I'm doing. I receive messages, from the, right brain. It goes to the left, and then I'll logically throw it out there. I'll see things logically. I'll go to the right brain. What else do I need?
Yeah.
Um, it's not something that I'd ever wish to cut off. It's always playing. So when spirit's supporting the situation and supporting the people I'm working with, I've learned to just lean into it. I found that when I try to control too tightly, it can almost like say, yeah, this is a good experience, but I want an amazing experience. I want it to be so like, wow, I walked away with something, but I'm also big on planting the seed. It may not resonate at the moment. It may not. And that's okay. I'm learning that that's okay. And so how much intuition comes into play? A lot. Ooh, I'm feeling it physically. I'm feeling it emotionally. I'm feeling it mentally. But my goal overall is to support you. So if someone comes to me for strength and conditioning, balance, it could be flexibility, mobility. I'm also tapping into what emotions could be just hiding
Yeah.
in there. What are you saying to yourself mentally? Are you being supportive? Knowing that there's a difference between accountability and putting yourself down. I'm just bringing more of me to the table, and in turn, I can help uh, more people. But it's an exchange here.
Mhm.
I'm figuring it out
Mhm.
too.
Mhm. Yeah, and people coming to you, likely, I guess some would, but at this point, like, if they're coming in for something physical, they may not be thinking about all those things because they're so focused on what the physical is. And yet, when you honor and respect someone as a being,
Yep.
You already know when they walk in the door, they have knowledge, they
Mhm.
have their own gifts. And
Yeah.
what are these gifts? Like, how can I help them to uncover these gifts and be in, like, I like to say, I introduce people to themselves
Yeah, you do
because
say that. Yeah.
you're already wonderful, and let me point out where you're wonderful, and then we'll
Yeah.
work on the stuff that and maybe isn't so, because it's bugging you. So
Yeah.
when you connect with someone and they're leaning into what it is you have to offer, what's the greatest joy for you in that?
I'm just honored. I'm honored because I just truly mean it when I just want them to feel safe with just being you, who you are, and to say, you know what, maybe you have something that you can support me with. And I'm the same way, you know. It's not easy to always say, hey, I might need some help with this. It's not easy to say all the time. But you're not meant to do it all alone. We all need somebody, right? And so when they come to me and they lean forward, I just get this feeling of thank you. And you know, when that transparency shows up, you know, thank you. I'm so honored. You know, it's a gift. It's not
Okay.
easy to be there sometimes, and everyone shows up differently. And that's one thing
Mhm.
that I truly appreciate about humans, and it makes it very interesting for me. If we were all the same, it wouldn't be fun.
Oh, boring. Oh, like, peace out. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
doing it if we're
Yep.
all the same. And honor is the word I was hearing and feeling there. So how do you keep, I love the ego. I love that little booger.
Mhm.
But how do you keep your ego from blowing up your head when the energy's already blowing up your head? Like, how do you communicate to yourself that it's actually not you that's doing all the work, but
Yeah.
that this interaction is what's doing the work and the expression? So how do you, as a human walking around in a very capable body with intelligence and integrity, like, how do you keep that balanced?
You know, it comes to sometimes once in a while, it sways there. It'll go back and forth. And you know what I do? I just give myself grace to be human. And I found that when I should give myself grace and I say, okay, I learned this term yesterday. It's not about being perfect. It's about being good.
Mhm.
Right. And so I have learned that, yes, I do have a perfectionist side in me. I do have that side of me that goes, yeah. But I have such a love that even if it kind of, if you may sway there, I have like a team that checks me, and I have a good friend in you that'll let me know.
Careful, Connor.
But I found that ego is not always, there's two sides to it, right? The childlike, childish,
Mhm.
right? And the childlike will have you show up, sing, dance, raise your hand in class. Remember, we had this all raise your hand in class, all of that. And then there's the childish, which isn't meant to be ignored, but check in on that. See what's going on, right? And
Mhm.
I found that just integrating and allowing has served me in many different ways, as opposed to blocking it, acknowledge it and
Mhm.
say, you know what? Okay. Yeah, might need to check myself, or someone around me will check me.
Yeah. There is, well, and if you're connecting in with your intuition as much as we are capable of doing,
Yeah.
and being in life, like, there
Mhm.
will be an example externally,
Yep.
and you'll be like,
Yeah.
that may have been me getting too know it all or too big for my britches, or
Mhm.
like maybe thinking that my way is the only way. And that's when the childish comes up, right? Like, but I
Yeah.
usually think if it's coming up, let's pay attention to it. And since
Yeah.
you do, like, work with kids and have kids,
Yeah.
you have lovely children. They're your teachers as well about,
Yep.
well, maybe I just need a snack.
Mhm.
Maybe I need a nap.
Yeah.
And maybe, truly, right? We get
Yeah.
tired and that childish brat shows up. So that takes me in a different direction. As a dad, how do
Yeah.
you balance your family life or integrate? I like to think
Mhm.
that we integrate life rather than balance it with your professional aspirations and your spiritual commitments and all of right.
Well, as far as the spiritual stuff, I actually teach them if they're willing to listen.
Mhm.
I actually like, I don't want them to forget. And my 8-year-old, he's like, yeah, I know. He's like, yeah, I know, Dad. I know.
He's
But
listening.
yes, exactly. So as far as balance, I just want to show my kids that you can go after your dreams and no one's left behind. And so when I have moments with them, whether it's dropping them off at school, it's an event. When I'm picking them up, it's an event. Dad might ignore the or not ignore them, annoy them. And, it's like one of those things where it's just, I love my kids. There's like, I can't see life without, I cannot be without them. I take this honor of being a dad and sometimes a job, right? As honor of being a dad is
Mm,
so amazing, and I'm so fortunate that they chose me. I am honored, man.
mm.
They yeah, I balance it out. I'm showing up. I'm there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I
And
let my presence be known.
that's a big thing though, right? Like
Mhm.
having your parents be present, having your dad be present, um, and having your dad see you because
Yeah,
our parents can be physically around, but not
yeah,
engaged with us. And that can be damaging and painful as well, too.
yeah,
So, um, yeah, you may embarrass them on some level, but they'll remember that. They'll know that you cared enough to embarrass them. Um,
yeah.
to be goofy, to be playful, and then to help them be compassionate beings in the world
Yes.
and to, not be so self involved
Yeah.
that, like you said, you can succeed and no one's going to be left behind. But consider the person standing behind you or next to you, like give a hand up.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
So,
I love it. We actually watch videos of people giving to, like, homeless people. And the joy and some of the things that we may take for granted as human beings and the joy from just being seen. I've felt that feeling before too. Just being seen, acknowledged,
mhm,
and I tear up every single time. And, the other, my 8-year-old, he understands. He tries to hide the tears a little bit, but he understands.
mhm,
And I think it's just healthy to show them that, we can't do it all alone, but you are just as important as everyone else. But
mhm,
don't be afraid to extend a hand and make sure someone else is okay. Don't, it's just a really good feeling to know that I can teach my kids these things,
mhm.
that everyone has value. Everyone's worthy,
Well,
you
it's a
know?
really good feeling to hear that kids are being taught this, right? Because
Oh,
they are going to run the world, and
that's
the
true.
more the more that are uh, engaged in empathy and connection and service, and recognizing that we're all individuals, but we do have a connection to people across the whole stratosphere. So,
Yeah.
what I'm going to switch a little bit. What advice would you have for the most amazing listeners on the planet to this podcast uh, that are looking to or striving to align their physical and their spiritual well being?
Mm, great question, Vicki.
Oh, thank you very much.
Uh, you're welcome. Wow. What advice would I have for that? Honoring yourself, honoring you. I mentioned grace to be human. Know that we're all going to make mistakes. Knowing that our angel wings weren't clipped, we've been flying the whole time. And so I've found that when I am the most present and I just allow what's coming up in the moment, that's when I seem to be the most connected at that moment in time. You know, using the past as a reference if needed. And there's nothing wrong with having an objective. There's nothing wrong with
Hmm.
that.
Not
But
at all.
just know that that objective cannot be reached unless you're hanging out in the now. And so I would say just be kind to you. Be kind to you. Yeah. Yeah. That's integrating you. It was integrating say it again. The question again.
Integrating, the question,
Yes.
advice for aligning, integrating's good, but aligning the physical and the spiritual well-being.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would say being kind to you, allow what shows up to show up. I found that my easiest way to connect was through my emotions and allowing those emotions, allowing those full spectrum of emotions. And so I found that me, how do I say this? Let's just say this. I don't like when people are treated unfair.
Yeah.
So I try to be as fair as I possibly can. That feeling that I got from people being treated unfair didn't feel too well to me. It didn't feel good. But then I said, okay, so that's not what I want to feel. And that's what I would prefer someone else not to feel. So I'm going to do my best to be as fair as possible. And what's fair, and in some ways it varies, but I'm doing the best that I can and I'm trying to meet the individual where they're at. And so I'd say alignments just comes with allowing,
Mhm.
and just working with everything that we've been given in this lifetime. Work with it, honor it. You know, that's
Well, and that occurs to me, like, both on a physical level, like, maybe you're like, last night, I was doing a yoga program, and you'll appreciate that 2 days ago, I did a, resistance band workout.
oh
Ha I'm sore. So, sitting in a deep squat was
yeah.
pulling everything out of me, really, and I was getting annoyed. I was getting mad that it wasn't working, and then, yeah, I this question that I've asked you came from that, because in that
Wow.
moment, I was like, "Vicky, stop fighting the physical. If it hurts, move. If, wiggle in your squat. You don't have to stay in the deep squat. Go side to side. This is acceptance. This is allowing. This is blending your physical and your spiritual self." I mean, it was a yoga class, for goodness sakes. And allowing for grace, like you said,
Yeah.
in the physical aspect of things, uh, opened the door for an emotional allowing, right? And you just said, what made me think of it was, you just said, like, in the moment, being aware and being available
Mhm.
for, you didn't say this part, but I felt like it. Whatever is coming up is valid.
That's
And
exactly what I was kind of saying. Yeah. Yeah.
and we can go to self-blame. You can go to recrimination. I could have beat myself up for the fact, but bands hurt, and I got muscles
Yeah.
I didn't know I had. So in this, I think I love the phrase body activist coach, because sometimes we forget that we are a spirit in a body,
Yep.
but we're also a body that agreed to house a spirit.
Yes.
So appreciation both ways. Like, if one's not working so great, the other one can come in and remind it,
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
like, it was in thinking about this interview, but also in, trying to be so in the now and present in what I was doing, my physical pain actually opened the door to a more enlightened awareness that you're going to resist, and it's just going to be annoying and awful. So,
True.
not to steal the show here, but
You're fine,
it's
Vicky. Go ahead.
but that alignment, I think it's really easy to forget, and that's why, again, why I love the body activist coach, phrasing because it's like we're gonna activate everything about you. We're gonna activate your soul. We're gonna
Yeah.
activate your humor,
Hmm.
um, your resiliency,
Yep.
as well as your capability and stuff. Because I'm sure people come to you in your workshops that expand emotionally when they didn't even realize they were coming in for that either. So,
Yeah, I've had moments. Yeah, and I've acknowledged them, and I'm just honored, man. I am just so honored. It's amazing to come into a situation and you just know that spirit just has our backs. It just wants
yeah.
us to do well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll be like, I don't know why I'm saying this, but I'm being asked to say this. I don't always convey that I could do
Mhm.
that. But I'll just say it and it's like, wow. And I don't always know the reaction I'm gonna get from that. But it's about, hey, maybe a message is coming through. Maybe I should just say it to them. Why not? Or ask them a question that leads them to it. I found that works as very well as opposed to
Exactly.
just saying
Exactly.
it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're inviting someone to their greatness.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
you're inviting them to their own party. And I think it takes being willing actually to be a messenger of spirit, to step out of the light of glory that I'm the one who's giving you this advice rather than, oh, that's what they need to hear. Okay. How can I inquire
Yeah.
of them so that they then hear or recognize their own greatness? And
Yeah.
then I like this I've often said this is why I never had to do drugs because I have the contact high of,
Yep.
right? Like that person realizing, "Oh, actually, I already know what to do here." And then they wander off into their life and you're like, "Yes. Yes."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's amazing. Yeah. I
it's a pretty awesome gig.
It is. It can be moments where you're just in your life where you're like, what is did I sign up for? What am I picking up on? Especially when you feel like you're the only one within
Mhm.
your community, within the family that may be experiencing this, right? And I just found that it's okay to be alone. It's just the lonely part that even shows up once in a blue even today, a lot less than it did as a kid. But now, once in a blue, I'll feel it, but then I got my kiddos. They're like another door down and everything like that. But as far as the intuitive gifts, I'm glad I have friends like you and I have other people that I can chat with so I can talk about the things that the everyday person may not
Mhm.
talk about or even know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
nice.
and or they may, and it
Or
takes a
they may, yeah.
bravery to be able to say, "This is what I'm thinking, this is what I know, this is who I
Yeah.
am," because again, the more that we invite those conversations, the more you'll realize that there is a great population, but to the point I remember when you went through a particularly lonely time,
Oh, yeah.
um, and it was like that's hard to watch as someone who's already gone through it, but also knows it's going to happen again and again and
Yep.
again for us
Yeah.
because it's a return to self that those
Yes.
moments are. And then a realization, "Oh, gosh, Nike, I was never alone." I let the separation from myself create that feeling of being alone.
Yep. Oh, good one, Vicky.
Thank you. We should put that on the t-shirt.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, I'm gonna remember. I'm asking to. It'll show up when it needs to.
To
Yeah, I
recall
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that I mean, if we can all encourage within ourselves to like our own company, but
Hmm.
also when those moments of lonely or alone show up, like lonely is like wanting other people around you to fill that space. alone is beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, we may have come in through our mothers, but we did come in alone. We will croak alone. I mean, the room's
Yeah.
filled, but it's your
Yeah.
soul's journey. We should get it while we're here too, that
Yeah.
it's that those moments of connection to ourselves. And if you're feeling a deficit, you likely lost your connection. So how do you maintain a connection with yourself with so much going on in your life? Like tell
Hmm.
literally practices. Like what are some of your practices? So,
Hmm.
if someone doesn't know, how do I even get started? Like what are some of the ways you connect?
Connect with self. Hmm. So, of course, I spend my time alone. I do listen to music. I work out, of course. That really gets me in my body. It kind of
Mhm.
helps me process a lot of different
Mhm.
things. I tell you what, if I didn't work out, it'd be hard to listen to that intuition. It would, for me anyway. I don't want to speak for everyone, but it'd be boggled down. What were you about to say, Vicky? I'm sorry.
No, 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 no. I was going to agree with you because the
Oh,
more grounded we are, the
yes,
higher we can go in frequency, and working
yes,
out grounds people.
yes, yes, yep. And so for me, what was the question again, Vicky? I'm sorry.
How do you connect with you? Like some practical tips that someone could take from your life, like
Okay.
3 or 4 things. You said working out, music, and quiet time. Like
Yeah. Okay. So I'd say also, I'm feeling compelled to go here. So like affirmations have me
okay.
really connect with me, vocalizing those words or those things that are hanging out within here. There's a power with your words. Um, Believing in myself, meaning, however, I don't always believe 110% if it's an uncomfortable situation. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but showing up.
Mhm.
Um, I would also say spending time with me, literally, just like we kind of talked about it, spending time with me and just literally just diving into the things that I like to do really helps me connect with me. So, me, I love watching videos on angels, numerology, astrology. I literally like meditate, have a conversation with ancestors, to all of that. Ancestors
Mhm.
are funny. They
Yeah, they are.
you can always tell an angel from an ancestor. I'll be honest with you.
Yes. Well, the frequency, but also the directness in which the message is relayed.
There you go.
Angels are like, "We would suggest,"
Yeah,
and
exactly.
ancestors are like, "Here you go."
Yeah, yeah. And so, with that being said, I like to sit back and I'll watch videos on that. But then I'll also look at cars I can't afford at the moment.
Mhm.
And for some reason, that dynamic, it's very fun because I have desires in this lifetime and things I would love to achieve. I would love the nice, beautiful house with the windows, lots of natural sunlight, you know, and I think just doing little things that just fill my cup really, really helps me because when I'm filling my cup, I can show up as a better version of myself for the people around me. So no matter what it is, it may be different today as opposed to tomorrow. But just showing up and spending some time with me and going, how do I feel? What do I
Mm.
want to do? Uh, what song do I want to play? What book would I like to read? What do I what uh healing stone do I want to grab today? I normally have the one that I wear.
Mm.
Don't know what I did with it right now, but the point is just showing up and just filling your cup, man, filling your gas tank.
Yeah.
Really, really helps that. For me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's brilliant advice because that, again, that connection to self when life is happening, because things get busy and we have
Mhm.
responsibilities and there's going to be sadness. This is humanity. This is human life. If that um, cup is full enough, it it doesn't take you out of the game, right? And you're less
Yeah.
reactive and more resilient, I think. And then able
Yeah.
to access the feelings, like to know what the emotions are. And going back to what you said earlier about it, every emotion is good and we're going to process and I'm going to feel them. That allows for, I think, stability and for
Yeah.
joyfulness. And I would also like to say very much a message to men in the world, and African American men and men of every walk of life, that it's okay. That's such a dumb statement. That it is within your absolute frequency as a being to have all of these emotions and to be able to express them. And
Yeah.
that then brings your strength, that brings your love, that brings your contribution to this whole universe. So I, for one, want to thank you for all the work because I have witnessed it over more than a decade. Um,
Thank
like
you. I mean,
where you've been.
you used to teach me this. You're welcome and thank you. Remember, you'd always say, acknowledge, say you're welcome. You'd always say that. You're honoring everyone across the board when you do that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So thank you so much for showing up and for reaching out. This segment we're doing it. I want to talk about purpose, and business is of purpose. And that's one of the reasons I reached out, because you've been on my podcast list forever. It's the aligning and then what is the message. So if people want to
Yeah.
reach out to you, how do they get a hold of you, sir?
All right. So you would look me up, BA Coach LLC.com, the Body Activist Coach. So what that stands for. You can email me at Tariq at BACoachLLC.com. And I mean, yeah, Instagram and TikTok. I got that too. What am I
You
thinking?
do. I'm like, your
Under the
car videos, excuse me, the pep
and
talks
under
from
the
Tariq.
and under the same name, Body Activist Coach LLC, both of them, Instagram as well as TikTok. And I also wanted to say this, Vicki, just thank you. Thank you for
You're
being
welcome.
you. Thank you. Seriously, I talk about our like the quotes you've given me, the things you've said, and I share with people every single day. And when I'm doing my motivational speaking, best believe you are showing up within that story in a major way. So just thank you for being you. I really appreciate you.
You don't make me cry on my own podcast. But I
And
appreciate
for
that too.
and one more
Because
thing I just want to share with everyone else. My mother always used to say, Tariq, you are enough. She'd buy me bracelets that say you are enough. I was looking at one of the bracelets the other day, and I just want to say this to the wonderful people out there. And I added a little extra to it, but here it goes. We are enough right now, and everything else is extra. You've been amazing. And that melody is needed within this world. And when I say melody, I'm talking your energy. The stuff we hear, even thank you.
Mhm. As are you, my friend.
I
So
appreciate you.
thank you very much. And we will, of course, link all of that and have you back and continue these conversations and uh, inspire, hopefully, others to, sometimes it does take a little bit of digging deep, but that digging is so worth it. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you, sir.
Hey, Viggy, Spirit's telling me to say this to you, or to tell the people this, that I'm working on a self-healing technique, energy, right?
Okay.
And I'm going to be starting to do these one-on-one sessions, right? December, as soon as December is when I wanted to start. And I'm just throwing it out there, feel free to reach out, but it's a
Okay.
self-healing technique. And just know, um, again, you got this. I don't know what else to say.
Right. Well,
Maybe
thank
that's
you for
spirit telling
showing
me
up.
this.
Yeah, the spirit gets a little bossy sometimes. I love it
Yeah,
because I don't want to always be in charge. So thank
absolutely.
you. And if
All
anybody's
right.
interested, we're gonna link everything there, and get them on over to you. So
Gotcha. Thank you,
thank you,
Vicky.
Tyree. Thank you for listening to this episode of Intuition, Your Success Compass. I appreciate you being here. If you would like more information about developing your intuitive skills, removing those blocks, and creating the life that feels the most successful to you, then head on over to vickibaird.com. That's VICKIBAIRD.com. And check out the courses, the groups, and the Spaces app that will allow you to be part of our community and know about upcoming events and specials. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.